this is not just about the microcosmic orbit. It's about visualizing energy in your body in general. And visualization is referring to creating energy flows in your body arbitrarily with your mind, whether via visualization or intent. I was a member of a Taoist forum for many years, and one thing that was remarkable is that a lot of newcomers, and there were a lot, many of them were reporting many serious health problems and energy imbalances due to doing the microcosmic orbit. So, to clarify, it says in the literature, and it's true, that if you focus on some part of your body, the energy will go there. Like, for example, if you focus on your elbow, the energy will go to your elbow. That's okay, as long as you don't just focus on one part all the time. It's better to focus on a lot. So that's okay, because it doesn't create a flow. In the microcosmic orbit, you're trying to make a flow that goes up your back and down your front. Also, people try to create energy flows by, for example, synchronizing with their breathing. For example, when they breathe in, they imagine energy going down to their belly. When they breathe out, imagine it going out. Sometimes they imagine energy going in their arm when they breathe in and out when they breathe out. Well, that's kind of useless. It's a kind of a dumb game. Doesn't really get you anywhere. And it can cause a lot of serious bad habits which are detrimental to cultivating energy. Now, most of the common types of qigong use movement to move energy. And the important thing is, the movements are covering most of your body. In other words, they're addressing a lot of energy flows at the same time. And one thing I need to mention is that the microcosmic orbit is done with movement in qigong, and it's done quite a lot, where your hands are the main focus. Your hands are your energy tools, and by the movement of your hands and or your body, you make the microcosmic orbit go up the back and down the front. The thing is, you can also go up the front and down the back. It's good to do both ways to get a balance. And usually they just finish it up with going up the back and down the front, because that helps energy settle in your belly where you should store it. The thing is, people that do the microcosmic orbit because they read some stupid book are only doing one thing. That's only one circuit. And there's hundreds of ways energy can flow in your body. So when you do the moving qigong, you're addressing all those movements at the same time, and you don't really have to focus. When you're doing the microcosmic orbit with movement, you don't even need to know you're doing the microcosmic orbit. It happens automatically, it happens all by itself, and you don't need to focus on it. You can listen to your energy, and maybe you'll notice it when you listen to your energy. But focusing on it is a problem. So a lot of people are creating this arbitrary flow in one direction in their body when there's hundreds of other flows. For example, in my qigong, the central channel is much more important than the microcosmic orbit channel. And you make energy go up and down that just with movement. You don't need to focus on it. So people are doing one circuit, which is extremely unbalanced, and they're forcing it by doing it with their mind, and forcing energy to flow with your mind is considered a hard style. And Lao Tzu said, whatever is hard will die young. And true enough, most people that just do that microcosmic orbit are really pretty sick. I saw one in person. It's pretty bad. So another thing that's important is that a lot of beginners, and most people who do this are beginners that read it in a book. You know, it's much better to do a moving qigong, or tai chi is better than most qigong out there. And it covers all the bases. And if energy is blocked, then that's okay. You don't need to know about it. It just works its way through if you continue doing the movements. But a lot of beginners don't even do their microcosmic orbit correctly. For example, they might miss a spot, they might miss their kidney area, or they might miss their shoulders, they might miss their heart. And they don't really know that because they can't feel it. They're just kind of going around, doing it by rote memory. And that's even worse. Another thing is that for example, for cultivating chi power, you need to have some exercise and movement to create vitality. If you're just sitting there with your finger in your nose, imagining energy moving, you're not creating any energy at all. You might be clearing some blockages, or you might be creating more problems. It's just pretty useless, In my qigong, which is actually Nei Kung, the focus is on cultivating a lot of chi power. And you want your hands to be powerful, because your hands can be used for healing or hurting people with energy if you want to use it for self-defense. So the hands need to be the focus. And the movement, for example, if you do a martial arts movement, hitting something, then the movement itself and the posture generate the energy. And you don't need to think about it. You don't need to focus on it. With your mind, moving energy, it's way too slow. And like I said, it doesn't create any power. Eventually, you want to create a lot of chi in your body and then get that to go up to your head if you want to become enlightened. Another thing is, a lot of these people who do the microcosmic orbit are really into retention, not having ejaculations. But it's kind of funny because doing the microcosmic orbit, it's kind of like jerking off in a lot of ways. You're going up and down, and then it feels good, right? So, and it makes you feel weaker afterwards. So it's, in a way, it's just like jerking off mentally, and they get more out of it if they don't jerk off physically. But it's all kind of a stupid game. Now, my teacher, Mr. Young, who was a powerful Taoist wizard, was very much against visualizing energy flowing in your body, and he forbade it. And if we told him, once I told him I tried it, and he got really pissed off because it's so detrimental to practice. In other words, if you do this, visualizing energy moving in your body, you're making it really difficult to cultivate using real qigong because it creates a lot of bad habits and a lot of bad energy flows, which, like I said, are arbitrary, useless, and in a lot of ways problematic and dangerous for your health. So anyway, I did the microcosmic orbit once using my mind, and that was after I had a lot of energy, and it was pretty neat. Took me about an hour to do one circuit, and it was not just one spot of energy moving. It was like a patch of heat, like 6 inches in diameter or more, and I slowly moved this up my back and down my front, and I was careful to get every single inch along the way. And one thing I noticed is that energy was flowing inside this spot. So I was focusing on this, and my energy was flowing strongly inside this area. And that's because I had been doing real qigong for so long and cultivated so much power, which included doing the microcosmic orbit with movement. So had this patch of heat going slowly up my back and down my front, and it felt really nice. So it's kind of blissful. So I probably experienced what these amateurs are doing to a much higher degree. But the important thing is, I noticed that my energy was depleted and I felt weaker for about 3 days. So, just like jerking off physically might feel good and blissful, energetic, but later you're kind of drained. So same thing, jerking off with energy and doing the microcosmic orbit. I think it's a really bad idea, and if you want to do real qigong, for example with me, then don't come here if you do that shit.